Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, is my roommate in a single bedroom apartment for some reason, Nate.
I got it from here. Thanks.
Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't ask you to move in, and yet here we are.
I'm here. I already brought the mattress. Too late.
This is a one bedroom, and it's
right. It's the mattress right behind you. That's the one I brought. You don't remember?
Yeah, it's a twin. So I don't understand how you think this is all going to work, but here we are trying to make it happen.
God, it'd be so great if I just removed from my video and just showed up in yours. God, we need to make that happen at some point.
Well, that's right. You heard Nate correctly in our video. We have finally gotten our shit together. Nate, people can see us now on YouTube. If you are so inclined, I really don't know why. This is barely a voice for podcasts, much less a face you want to see more often than not. I'm not even a voice. Some people say you have a voice or a face for radio. I don't even know if people say that about me. So this is, if you want
it, the worst is possibly you have a face for gramophone. Like that, it's like, oh God,
right?
oh no, that's the all-time worst.
Shit, that is true. Well, luckily, assuming that we are still in quarantine for a longer time than hopefully we won't be, but you may get to see me turn into Cousin It in real time because I have not gotten a hair. Look, I mean, it's soon. That's already going to be my Halloween costume without me having to do anything.
You need to match me. You need to go at the back.
Man, I tried. There's not enough conditioner and stuff. It's all like super thick, and I don't know. I'm trying to get the mullet going. I don't know. Maybe.
What's that, Mitch?
Tell you what. If we get 1,000 subscribers on all of our social media, not like adding. I mean, like a legit 1,000 on Twitter, 1,000 on like Instagram, 1,000 on Facebook. I'll shave my head live on this video.
I'll be there.
You will come in mask and all.
I'll put on a hazmat suit just to make sure everything's as safe as possible, and I will be there.
I probably ought to. Yeah, I mean, it
has to be soon.
Though. It's not like I'm not going to do this like 3 years from now when we finally hit it.
No,
I mean it's like
it's too late.
It's
not going to be your head. It's not going to be your head shaved. It's going to be a mohawk for sure.
Oh,
yeah. See, okay, now it could be any time in the future.
As long as it's not an inverted mohawk, I guess.
No, come on. I'm not gonna do that.
I'll do my head like Pepper from American Horror Story.
Exactly. Speaking of which, we are getting into the video format, and we have two. We've already done a couple of interview episodes. Yes. One with Pepper herself, Naomi Grossman, is already on YouTube, and producer Alok Mishra. Get on YouTube and check that one out because it is related to today's episode, the movie, the myth, the legend, 1BR.
That's right. Yeah. Hopefully you've had a chance to check out the interview. No spoilers in that interview. There's nothing significant, I don't think. There's probably a couple things, but I think things you would have caught if you had seen the trailer. Although you and I did not watch this trailer.
No, don't watch trailers.
I mean, we're gonna play the trailer, but you could just skip through that. Also, per YouTube comments, which I do not check, you can just skip straight to the movie review in this episode. We now have a spoiler-free and a filled with spoilers section. You don't have to hear me and Nate be jackasses for the first 15 minutes.
Yes, in the show notes, you will see the different categories and sections of the podcast.
Yes.
If you just want to skip to our reviews, you can go all the way to the final cut. If you just want to hear, if you just want to hear us do the spoiler-free section, you can. Want to go right to the spoiler section because you've already seen it, go for it. It's all in the show notes on all your platforms.
I like to think, though, that, we provide you with the whole experience from start to finish. But, look, sometimes you've only got 15 minutes. maybe this is like your bathroom break time, and you've just got to get to the meat, and I get it. So, the notes are there for you to use. But now we're in video. I think we'll have to figure out if our times. We'll have to figure out the timestamps for YouTube. I don't know if this carries for that. Yeah. But anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about 1BR. But Nate, listen, before we get into talking about this particular apartment housing complex, let's have a little debate about our own personal experiences with apartments.
Bid our father, the Sea King, rise from the depths full, foul in his fury. Black waves teeming with salt foam, to smother this young mouth with pungent slime.
I need a Willem. You got that Pennywise, Standy. I really need Willem Dafoe back here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm going to drop so much stupid money on ridiculous crap I do not need. Now that we're doing video, I mean, eventually, I've clearly have not gotten anything actually set up. So except for the Planet Terror poster in the back.
It looks like you're having a garage sale in your studio.
A little bit. Well, all the shit that's like wired up and put together is not where this camera is. So like all my studio stuff, my monitors, my music equipment, everything is like this way. Nothing behind me. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But look, Nate, we live in one of the largest cities in America.
Sure.
Now it is spread out. So, people aren't just living on top of each other. It's not like a Manhattan or a LA or even a Chicago to some extent. Although Chicago's fairly sprawling too, I think.
No, it's not.
It's not? Okay, well, I don't know why I said that. But the point is, I like most apartment buildings in Houston are not like, they're kind of like this one. There's only a few stories. They're not like, it's not too packed to the gills. But that doesn't mean that we don't have our share of crazies. And so, Nate, I have to ask, who do you think, do you have a crazy neighbor story from living in an apartment, either in Houston or maybe in college? I don't know. Because living in an apartment is in itself a horror movie.
It depends. It depends.
It does, but there's just a lot of strangers, a lot of people you don't know. I mean, look, I've never had to go through like a review board and get the approval was like, you can pay, right? And that was about the extent of the background.
Yes, I never had an application quite like this.
So pretty lax. I'll if you don't mind, I'll just jump in.
Sure,
ahead.
Go for it.
I mean, so I remember when I first moved to Houston, we were living in this one spot that was, it was more wide open, a lot more kind of open spaces, was friendly for dogs, which we'll get into later. But pet friendliness of an apartment complex is probably a good thing to look for. When they say no pets, that's probably a red flag. But we'll get into that. However, I was on the bottom floor, and I had a neighbor that was above me. It was
bottom floor. Ooh, problems.
Not for when you're moving in and out. Not for when you're drunk stumbling up to your door. It
depends. My apartment complex had like the drive up, and it was straight across, so it wasn't too bad.
See, mine was more open walkway, not quite. Yeah, yours was a little different. But so I had this neighbor who was literally batshit insane. Did you ever watch 30 Rock? Do you know Don Geis's daughter, Kathy Geis?
Yes.
That was who my obsession looked like. Two of the biggest goddamn dogs I had ever seen. And she
talking like mastiffs, like we talking man's best friend kind of dogs.
Yes, huge fucking dogs, and they would just run up and down all over the place all the time. And I didn't really. I mean, look, their dogs are dogs. I don't get too bent out of shape over it. I didn't have kids or anything like that. But I just remember she would, if I was listening to music or if I have people over, she would be losing her shit, banging on like the floor below her to send.
Awesome.
And then we got into some large ass fight. I'm even trying to remember what it was.
How many punches were thrown?
Oh, quite a bit in terms of she threatened me multiple times. I think she threatened at one point to steal my dog to save her from me or something. She tore down all of my Halloween decorations on my patio once because they were, and I quote, devil's toys. Or I mean, it was.
Oh, this is awesome.
And then so she was, most of these things are like, you're fucking crazy. I just largely ignored her, kept to my own business,
Yeah.
We did, however, I guess there was some other neighbors that came in that were also very loud, and so we sort of bonded a little bit on that. But I remember she then went on a whole tirade about how she was just going to she was working to just live off the grid. And
this is awesome.
And she was telling me about her whole system. And I mean, it's not like listening to a doomsday prepper, but listening to doomsday preppers like on the show is one thing. Listening to them when they're like 3 feet away from you and you cannot disengage from the conversation is the worst. Because you may not be able to tell this for me, Nate, and you people now looking at me. I am probably more polite to a fault in conversation. Like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not I can't shut it down. I'm definitely going to be there listening for half an hour to something I do not want to listen to, because I'm just not going to be that a dick about it. I should have, Nate. She had a whole thing about how she was going to build it like a fucking tree house out in like East Texas somewhere and fucking just live off the land because there are deer and everything there, which first off, you're probably getting shot if you're going to hang around where the deer are in Texas. Anywhere.
How well would that treehouse go in the numerous hurricanes that have hit there recently?
Well,
probably not the best move.
Well, I mean, look, if I had to guess, she probably has a broom and could have flown off with the wind. So it's, I wouldn't be too worried about her. The dogs I'd be more concerned with.
This is very true to form, where the dogs were so loud and awful in the apartment setting, and yet you're not blaming the dogs.
Right. Well,
never blame the dogs, according to Mitch.
The dogs, well, of course not. It's not the dog's fault. But I mean, look, I feel like you either get the Rosemary's Baby type of neighbor who is like always in your business, way too fucking helpful, or you get this one, who has escaped from the seat of hell to come and harass the shit out of you all. Like one of the lesser demons, it's like it's not like Satan himself is there. It's just like, oh, this is like Grindelwald or so. That's Grindelwald.
No, it's like one of those citrus belts, like a tangerine belt demon, like real low level.
Right. So yeah, just like I like the one that's like, I'm not gonna like possess you. I am just gonna like fuck your shit up though a little. Like I'm the one that like knocks your plates off the wall. It's like that's inconvenient.
Yeah, exactly.
So I a lot of micro things. Nate, I'm curious.
That doesn't sound micro if they're like taking your crap and telling you they're gonna kidnap your dog.
Yeah, that was toward the end. That was as it escalated even more.
How did this end? So did you move or did they move?
I moved.
Okay, you moved. Okay, so they won. Okay.
Did my dog take a dump right by their door? I can't say, Nate. Can't say.
Okay, so there was some escalation on your part.
Could have been a no. Well, no. Could have been. Is it passive escalate? Maybe. I can't say. Who's to say? There were no cameras. Nate, what are you? What are you?
I'm on the prepper side now. I'm on the prepper side. For me, I lived in an apartment complex for quite some time, the same one, but I moved around different apartments, so I got to see a variety of
you moved every other year, but like just like
in
down
the same
hall.
apartment complex.
We'd always, he's like, can y'all come help me move? And it was always like 3 doors down. Like,
can you help me move like across the parking garage on the same floor? Like that happened before. It was great. Yeah. They kept giving us deals. What do you want? Okay, so I had a couple roommates. One or not roommates, neighbors. So in one of the apartments, there's 4 floors in the apartment complex. And so I lived, and at this time period, I lived on the 3rd floor. So we move in, and these people are already there. And so one night I'm sleeping, and it's like 2:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden I just hear like a blood curdling scream, like very loud, that it woke me up on a different floor. And I was like, oh, did something happen? And so I just, wake up, and I'm just listening to see if there's any more sounds. And I hear the sound again. And I'm like, oh, okay. We had just moved in, and I still had a ladder up because I was putting stuff up. And I just climbed up the ladder and listened. And all of a sudden, that same person, ostensibly, just started laughing hysterically. And then I heard a bunch of loud thuds on the floor, and then more laughing. And I was like, oh, they're just like, I guess, having a party of some kind? Not sure. So anyway, I was like, oh, all right, well, that happened to be, I think, it was like a Friday or Saturday. I was like, okay, well, whatever, fine. The thing is that might have been the only time. That happened a lot of times, but that might have been the only time it happened on a weekend. I don't know if these people were like working at a hospital or some weird hours or something, but like every 3 a.m., every so often on like a Tuesday, you would just hear like someone tipping over a safe and then like putting that safe back up and then tipping it over again. Like the loudest thuds you've ever heard in your life. Random ass parties, like I said, like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And I try to be as nice as possible, because I had the cops called on me on some of my other apartments for being too loud and having parties. I think you might have been there for at least one of those. Cop shows up and was like, hey, you need to like not party in your balcony because you're all insane people. I'm like, fair. Okay. Move it inside. Or you're having a jump contest to see who can dunk over things on mini basketball hoops, like the one that's behind me in this room. Okay, fine, fair. We will stop doing that. But these people were insane. Only time I've ever called the cops on someone in my life, including a time in college where someone our next door neighbor or someone got in a fight in our like shared kind of, like atrium way thing, right, where all the doors are that come into the apartment. This huge fight is happening, and I look through the door hole, and I'm like, oh, these people are just scuffling, no big deal. Then the fight ends, and I have to go out and get something from my car, and I open the door. There's just blood all on the bottom of the concrete in that middle area. I was like, oh no. Apparently everyone was fine. Those same neighbors threw a full beer can through my friend's windshield from their balcony into the
They were just giving
lot.
you a Stone Cold Steve Austin, just hooking you up with beer and
so
going
bad.
on the way.
These people were worse than that. So they would have these parties, and then I had never done it before because I'd been loud before, so I wanted to make sure, like, if I was loud, someone else was loud, I'm not going to give them crap. That was the first time I ever had done the broom move, where I kind of tapped up, like, all right, come on, man, this is like 2:30 in the morning on a Wednesday. What are we doing here, right? And then I did that, and I called the cops for the only time ever when it was like just a straight up rager at like 3 in the morning on like a Thursday. And I was like, I can't. This is a lot, man. And then, I'm pretty chill and low maintenance. I'm one of like the most low maintenance people on earth. And even I was just like, okay, this is okay. One of the more low maintenance people, for sure.
Okay, sure. I'll go with that then.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I gotta call the cops on these people. They were bad. One time, we were out on the balcony. I was on the balcony with my cat, and one of the people just starts peeing off their balcony on the 4th floor, off into like the back of the complex. My cat is trying to bat it from through the thing. I'm like, okay, these people are terrible, and that happened more than once. So, but I never directly interacted with them other than one time going to their apartment and being like, all right, man, I just want to say hi, blah, blah, I'm below you. It's kind of loud. They're like, oh, we'll look into it. And then I never talked to them again because they were insane directly after that. So it wasn't worth,
So you
getting
heard,
into it.
You heard screams thumping noises.
It could have been a murder apartment. I have no idea.
I mean, people, you are every like person in a horror movie that is getting screamed at, like, leave the house, like, get out of there. What's that noise? Oh, it's probably nothing. It's like, no, it's something. Get out of the house. That's what.
I'm wondering, like, what their like the neighbors next to them must have heard all this crap too, right? It wasn't just me. They were not even on I can't even imagine.
Look, if someone wants to look up missing persons cases and see when people have been missing at like Thursday evenings,
it could have been a murder apartment for real. I thought it might have been, but then it was just like party. Maybe it was murder party.
I mean,
that's how they got it.
How brave of you to go and confront it too? Because if you even suspect it's a murder apartment, you don't say shit, right? Like you just
I was just like, hey man, it's like really loud, like during the middle of the night. If you guys just keep it down a little bit, I'm not asking for a ton, just like less blood curdling screams in the middle of the night.
Do you think they looked at your face and thought you're probably cool? Well, you're probably wearing one of your like horror T-shirts. We're like, it's fine. this guy's cool.
Okay, we won't go down and murder him, but we'll keep doing our own thing. Maybe that saved me. I have no idea, but yeah,
they're probably thinking like, "Oh, good. If the cops, if it ever gets too heavy here, we've got a potential, pond we can shove this on."
I hope not. But yeah, it was crazy. And then, but they ended up moving before I did. So all of a sudden, the crazy, like the loud sound stopped, and I was remembering like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like the silence was just great. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Nate, the more I think about it, you did bring up a point. I have, not in my own apartment, but in your apartment and in unsuspecting victim Derek's apartment, I have absolutely gotten the cops called in on us. For Derek's, it was because we would be playing, Rock Band?
Yeah.
And I was letting it loose with vocals. Let me tell you. A lot of drinking, a lot of scream karaoke, and people are like, "Yeah, hi, it is 2 a.m. You need to shut that shit down."
Imagine if that happened like on a Tuesday every week. Well,
and Nate, we're relatively calm and reserved on the show comparatively.
Sure.
When we have our game nights at your place and we're drinking, you and I believe we tripped like Richter scales somewhere nearby. Like you and I together, it's just this big like echo chamber of like we could potentially scanners someone to like just like.
Yeah, if we got close enough to someone's head on both sides, we could scanner somebody.
Reminder, don't listen to us in stereo. That is not going to be good for you. Really go for a mono feed. It helps balance it out a little bit better.
Fair.
All right. Well, look, if you had a shitty roommate experience, or you're the shitty roommate person or neighbor, we want to hear about it.
Hopefully rehabilitated. Hopefully.
Or you've removed yourself from the apartment society. Let us know at TX Pod Massacre on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre at gmail.com, and then Texas Podcast Massacre everywhere else. All right, Nate, we've been dying to talk about this movie. Let's get into this week's movie of the week, 1BR.
Haven't you been getting my calls?
I've been busy.
When are you coming home?
I'm staying.
They put that system in a few years ago after a break-in.
Don't worry. Neighborhood's a lot safer now.
I just moved here. I don't really know anyone.
What brought you to LA?
Trying to start a new life.
Missed one here. Any pets?
Nope.
You got it. We're neighbors. Hey, listen, we're having a barbecue. You should come.
Welcome. We like to make this place feel like a real neighborhood.
And we all kind of take care of each other here.
Does the plumbing do that every night?
Do what?
So tired all the time. Do you hear that noise?
I don't hear anything very well anymore.
You think I'm crazy?
What are you doing? Run. Run. Help! I need help! How could you do this? I just want to go. Please. Please, I just want to go.
This is your home.
Yowza.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said yowza. I'm sorry.
It's good. It's because it's good, man. It's good.
Man, the YouTube comments on this trailer are fantastic. I will get to them. Some of them are a little bit spoilery, so I will get to them at the spoilers section. But before we get into that, look, so Nate, look, it's 1BR. We can't fit a whole bunch of people into this tiny ass apartment. So it's just you and me. No one's suspecting victim this time around. Although I'm dying to make Lisa watch this. That said, I will give the elevator pitch. Look, girl moves to LA, trying to make it big dreams, all that. And she tries to get herself an apartment, and obviously her neighbors turn out to not be what they appear.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, yeah, it's a tale as old as time, Nate.
And spoiler alert, it's a 1-bedroom apartment.
Is that what 1BR means?
Yes, it does.
Obviously. No, so good. So this movie is named a number of different things. I think we were talking with Loke and Naomi about it because it's named differently in
Apartment 1BR in the UK.
Because some people don't quite know what 1BR. It doesn't have the same translation. Famously, I think in at least one Spanish-speaking country, it is not. It does not translate as well.
Burr.
Yeah. So yes, 1BR. It's about apartment. Nate, what can you tell us about this movie on Netflix?
Yeah, 1BR originally filmed 2019, premiered at the Fantasia Film Festival in July of 2019, and then it was going to continue on the festival circuit early this year, and that stopped because of the pandemic. So it was released in April of this year, and then picked up by Netflix on August 28th, and shot up the charts, made it to the number one film in the U.S. on Netflix, and was in the top 10 for quite some time. So that's crazy. A little small movie, doesn't, there's no way to know exactly what the budget of the film was, but it was definitely a lower budget film for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They make good use of it, but definitely, not made for a ton of money. Obviously, I highly recommend going to listen to our interview that we did last week, that we released last week, but sounds like there could be a sequel. Sounds like there could be, more happening with this director, and all for it. Right now on IMDb, this is, I think, a little low, personally. But right now it's only a 5.8 on IMDb. Not sure why. It's about 85% on Rotten. That's a little closer to my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what people are doing, but because it was on Netflix, it's getting a lot more reviews and a lot more juice, which is awesome. The director of the movie is David Marmor. This film's a tight 90 minutes, and this is his first. This is his first feature film that he directed. He directed a TV episode and a few other shorts, but this is his first film. Nice and tight, 90 minutes. Great tagline. Welcome to the neighborhood. Perfect tagline. Love it.
Yep.
And good cast. Everything solid. I'm assuming this guy, David Marmor, is going to be someone that we check out in the future for sure. Just starting out, seems to be on a great track so far. The main actress on this film is Nicole Bryden Bloom. She hasn't been in too much either. Again, this is a low budget film with a lot of newcomers, but They do a good job. She had a small part in an episode of the TV show The Affair. I know that's Mitch's favorite show. Mitch's second favorite show, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. She was in that one. And she was in the film Here on Out. That was her first kind of lead role. Along with that, there's a couple other actors I want to get into. There's well-known character actor Taylor Nichols, who plays in this film. He's he's Jerry. He's the apartment manager. He has been in everything. Mitch's second favorite movie, Jurassic Park 3. He was Mark in that one. He's in Boiler Room. He was in Pen 15, that TV show on Hulu. That's pretty funny. Mm-hmm. He was in an episode of Walking Dead because why not? The guy's got a face for it. He was in Chappaquiddick. He was in Godzilla. He was in Friday Night Lights. He was in 24, a variety of stuff. This guy's everywhere. Check him out. You'll like, oh yeah, I know him from something. Also need to highlight Naomi Grossman, of course, Pepper and Samantha Crow from American Horror Story. And from our interview, again, plugging that interview because it was really good. She's also Janice in this film. She's in, and you have not seen this yet. She's in Fear Inc. You've not seen that, right, Mitch?
No. I keep getting
Mitch, watch Fear Inc.
Here's the problem. I realized what's going on, Nate. I have been getting Fear Inc. confused with Fear.com. And those are very different films. But
isn't there one that's like Hell House LLC or something?
There might
that's
be.
a horror film. Yeah.
I like that they're incorporated. They're protecting their haunted interests and assets.
Exactly.
So smart on them.
So she plays Kat in Fear Inc. and I irrationally love Fear Inc. quite a bit. So highly recommend it. Mitch, that is a movie that I think you will enjoy. If you don't, then that's your fault. She's also been in the TV series Control Alt Delete. She is got a couple of things coming up. Of course, she's in a movie called The Demons Within. You know, that's a horror film. She's in another one called...
It could be, you know what? Demons Within could be some... It could be some, like, I don't know.
No, it's a horror.
Earjerker, addiction, film. Something or other. Okay.
She's in another film. She's in another film called The Initiation. Says it's a drama. Looks like The Invitation. So... there's that.
Yep.
Murder RX. She's in, or is it Murder Prescription? Hard to know on that one. And she's in a movie coming out that's called Sky Sharks. Here is the synopsis. Mitch is on board. Sky Sharks.
Wait. Do we have a tagline for it already?
The sea is not enough.
Oh, that's
good.
Is Garbage gonna sing the song for this?
Yeah, the sea is not enough. It's a perfect place to start, though. Okay, deep in the ice of the Antarctic, a team of geologists uncover an old Nazi laboratory still intact where dark experiments had occurred. In order to conquer the world, the Nazis created modified sharks who were able to fly and whose riders are genetically mutated undead superhumans. A military task force called Dead Flesh 4, reanimated U.S. soldiers who fell in Vietnam, is put together to prevent world downfall.
I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Now, evidently, my cycloptic colleague informs me that can't be done. Can you remind me what I pay you people for? Honestly, throw me a bone here.
Tell me. I mean, if that, please. It has to be related. It has to be.
You did that pretty quick. You did that pretty quick.
I've been working on the setup, but man, I
see that. Yeah,
I did not have that drop prepped. But the minute you said sharks, the minute I heard Nazi laboratory, it was like this movie. I mean, does Michael Myers get Mike Myers? Does he get royalties for this? Because he basically pitched
no. But in that movie, you got Naomi Grossman. You got Tony Todd, the Candyman himself. You got Mick Garris. Mick Garris is just randomly in this film, so that's awesome.
That's good.
And then you got Mitch's favorite person of all time. Who is the fourth build in this film? It is Diana Prince, aka Darcy the Mail Girl from The Last Drive-In.
Oh, there you go.
Mitch is 100%
All in
on this film.
All in, especially if they have freaking laser beams on their heads.
Excited to review that. Maybe we have to get Naomi back for that one because
We have
that
to.
sounds batshit crazy. It's like Dead Snow meets Iron Sky meets Sharknado.
Sharknado.
I mean, it sounds batshit crazy.
Yeah.
There's more people in this movie, but we'll continue. Just one of the other things I wanted to mention is I know Mitch is not the best at Spanish, but Lisa is.
Lisa is fluent.
Yeah. But so the name of the apartment complex in this film, the first word is asilo, which means asylum in Spanish. A little bit of foreshadowing there for our Spanish speaking people that are listeners here. But that was all the trivia I could find basically on IMDb. Movie's crazy. Highly recommend if you want to get some behind the scenes stuff and hear about all the craziness, including when a bunch of their equipment got stolen and led to a high-speed chase. How fires all around the area, not unlike our Tammy the T-Rex episode, California fires filming a challenge, and feminine energy drinks almost derailing the production.
Those are a thing. Don't know what
check
they are.
Check out our interview episode and get the information on that.
Yeah, it's such a fun episode. But look, right now look, they're not here. It's time for us to stop being polite and start being real, Nate. So your overall impressions of this film.
Overall impressions of this film are very good. I like the movie a lot. It's a low budget movie. It doesn't try to do too much. It has a great setting. There's character development and the interactions with the characters and things like that. It's not super gory.
Mm-hmm.
It all works together to be really good. This is one where my mom visited recently, and I got her to watch it, and she liked it. So one of the OG unsuspecting victims in my life gave this a thumbs up, as well as my wife. So she liked it. I already got the Blu-ray, which tells you how much I liked it, because I have quite a few Blu-rays, but we watch so many movies that it's only a small portion that get the Blu-ray seal of approval, and this is one of them.
That's right.
The movie's really good. It does a lot with a little. It's fairly creative. The premise and the setup and everything is solid, and it's genuinely creepy. I don't know if you call this a straight up horror film necessarily. It's kind of like horror elements, psychological thriller.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's not overtly horror.
I guess because I've been on Twitter a lot more lately, and everyone has a stronger opinion about everything there. I don't know why we gatekeep so much about what is horror, because to me this is pretty. I mean, it's creepy. It has elements that are very suspenseful. Sure, there's not someone running around stabbing everyone multiple times, and it's not like there's a killer in the woods type of thing. It's a different kind of dread and terror, but I think that's I mean, at the minimum, this is closer to horror than other entries that we would know. You would never think to call Aliens anything but horror, right? And this probably has more actual horror elements than that one did, in terms of that being more actiony.
A lot less machine guns in this film.
Certainly.
Sure.
Yeah, look, I say that because I'm actually literally looking at a review on IMDb that's someone's complaining this is not horror. It's like, what is it then? Why do we need it? That is a total tangent. This movie is great. You should absolutely watch it on Netflix. I expected this movie to be. I don't know what I don't really know what I expected it to be. I expected look, you expect creepy neighbors. You expect this place is insane, but the why and the rationale behind the different characters was not expected. And it has a very I like the ending. Is it going to be the most original? Like, no one's ever thought of this ending? Probably not. I think I can think of one movie that has a similar ending
Sure,
to
yes.
this. That doesn't mean that it's bad though. I don't know. For as many remakes as is made all the time, this is by no means like
and they obviously didn't have a huge budget to do all this stuff. But what they do, what they
do, they pull off very well.
Super well done.
Yeah.
A lot of times in a movie that doesn't have a huge budget, right? You have some like very wooden acting, things like that. I think the main actors in this film did a really good job.
Yeah.
It was like what we talked about in our previous episode, Spree, right? So Joe Keery does such a good job. You're just like, oh, he is this person, right? Like you kind of forget that, hey, that's the babysitter from Stranger Things. Oh yeah, this right? Like he's embodying it. In this movie, same thing. The main character, she does a great job of embodying this person, and there's enough in the writing to give her to do and to change and how she responds to these intense situations. That's like, oh, that's believable. I understand what Sarah's doing in this instance. It's driven by that. If the premise was cool, a lot of movies premise is cool and then it kind of falls apart in other aspects in the production. This one doesn't. It's just real good.
Yeah. So let's talk about Sarah. I mean, to me, she's a super relatable character. I mean, she is, I think what makes this movie work is that you could absolutely see her as being someone you knew in high school that moved off to go do, like you almost feel like that you have someone like this in your life. It's not too unbelievable. And even her LA goal is really not like, I want to be a supermodel star. She's like, I just want to do costuming.
Very reasonable.
It just makes sense, right? Yeah, I mean, that part's really interesting. I think you're right. She's so good. She's able to convey so many expressions. She has that kind of control over just like her facial expressions and I think Luke mentioned that she could cry like 40 different ways or something. Like
I think he said 8 ways, but 8 ways is pretty good.
That's 7 more ways than I know how, Nate.
My crying
I
method,
just cry.
I only have one. I only have one. It looks like I just got punched in the face. That's my crying method.
Yeah, it's all I've got is ugly cry and maybe man cry. I do have like the no, my contact's messed up. That's the most I got.
There's a dust storm. Like it's like 80% humidity. Don't worry, dust storm.
Nah, you're not getting me unless animals are getting hurt. Which so I'm not going to go into the specifics right here in this section, but let's talk about before we get into some of the characters. So for our unsuspecting victims, if you're thinking about watching this, there are trigger warnings you should be aware of. Certainly, there is some animal things that
there's animal chicanery.
Just fast forward that. What happens. You don't need to really bask in it. Just
it's not explicit. It's
not.
Yeah, but it is.
But it is not great. And I'm glad they did not make that worse. They did the cat dirty. And it's pretty much in the trailer too. So if you need to, it's not.
Yeah,
like
it's in the trailer.
They don't hide it. My favorite, so other trigger things. I mean, really. There's not really gory. I don't think there's nothing really like jump out scary. It's definitely more suspense. So, I mean, I think unsuspecting victims could like I don't think Lisa would have an issue watching. Like, I don't think she would be unable to watch it or totally miserable watching it versus like Hostel or Human Centipede.
Oh yeah, it's not a Hostel. There are
there's a little bit of tense scenes and there is some I guess technically kind of body horror type stuff, but nothing major. I mean, nothing that A is not short-lived, and then B, it makes sense. It's not just cruel for the sake of being cruel.
Yeah, everything that happens in the movie, and there are callbacks and everything, but is in service of the plot. There's really nothing extraneous in this. It's a 90-minute movie. They're not really. There's no like extra flair or pathways that don't go anywhere. Everything is tidied up pretty nicely. Mm-hmm. So. You're not getting overly long scenes of any of that kind of stuff. Again, the OG unsuspecting victim for me, my mom, she enjoyed the film, said it was very well done.
Yeah.
So Everyone should be able to watch this.
Yeah. So, Nate, were there any characters that you particularly liked, or any that stood out to you besides Sarah? Because I know we've talked that
Sarah's amazing. I mean, one of the more like distinct looking people in a movie ever. You gotta go with Lester.
Yeah.
Very distinct look. The one, the glasses with the one, like the sunglass over only one eye, because obviously something happened to him, and his mannerisms and way that his character, moved and talked and said, like he was all skittish and stuff, which it totally makes sense in terms of the plot and everything. Was a really distinct character. You don't really see in a lot of movies anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this film. This apartment complex is full of there's dozens and dozens of people in this complex, right? It's not like a small complex by any stretch. And they give, there's all different kind of archetypes happening in this place. I know a fan favorite in this one probably would have to be, what's her name? I guess Edie, right? The old lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
In there. I mean, she is, she's like a, I don't know, almost like an aging actress. She was very dramatic and whatever, and hilarious. And both my mom and my wife pointed out her hilarious use of blue eyeshadow. And her outfits were amazing. There's always kind of different characters in the film that don't go way too over the top, that are relatable, but then again, it all ties back in the story. There's really no wasted people or anything like that. No. I like how it economically used all the characters. Everyone's got something to do. So I like that part of it for sure.
Yeah. You do. I mean, because that'd be the harder thing to do, right? Have a thing about an apartment complex, community, and all that, and not really focus on anyone within the community.
Yeah, you got to focus on some people, but not too many. But not too many where you get overwhelmed, but not too little where there's no relationship.
Now, you are a father. How did you enjoy what?
Yes.
Well, horror movies and movies in general, I think they take a different tone when you yourself have kids, right? I think growing up, you watch them, you're like, God, these parents are just the worst, right? Yeah, but then as you have your kids, you're like, look at these effing kids, man. Will y'all just do what? Just call your dad. Sure. And just there's asking for a call. What do you think? I mean, what do you think about this dad, his relationship with Sarah?
Sure. So his character is Sarah's father. I don't think you ever hear his name.
Don't know if you do, actually.
Yeah, but no, the dad, he's one of the higher billed people in the film. You see him in a couple different places. The dad is not great in this one. Dad's not great.
No, kind of a jerk. Kind of does some shady shit.
Kind of a jerk, shady, really old school. Looks like he might have been able to be a Sopranos extra, depending on if you put that guy in a tracksuit. That's a Sopranos extra right there. For sure. No, he wasn't super great. I understand why Sarah left and wanted to go start fresh.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, it's what this movie is talking about is the relationships that happen between all the residents of this apartment complex. People are looking for connections, right? So she doesn't really have a good connection with her dad, so that she goes to LA, gets a job as a temp while she's trying to do her costume stuff, right? Okay, classic move. While she's there, she makes a good friend at the law firm she's working with, right? Mm-hmm. And people are kind of Lisa. Her name is Lisa, and she was the strong-willed, sassy friend. Not unlike Lisa for us in our podcast. Come back, Lisa. Come on, we need we need that strong female presence.
That's right.
But no, she's reaching out and trying to find connections, right? And so that opens her up to the relationships that get created in this movie, in this location, right? So
Yeah.
the backstory with her dad, I think, was done extremely well. Again, this is a 90-minute movie. They're not sitting and luxuriating in any of these scenes. They're very economically well done.
Yeah.
And I can't stress it enough. These short horror films, keep them coming.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, do not need to overstay your welcome.
Yeah, you don't need an hour and 10 minutes when 95 will do just fine. So this movie falls right into that category. Not everything needs to be like an hour, like Host, right? We can go longer than that if you're using your time. But once you get past an hour and a half, you better have a good reason.
That's right. Well, look, Nate, I don't want to go into really a whole lot more with this one, just because I want people to actually go and watch it. As blind as you could possibly kind of go in. It sounds like I think you and we're absolute go watch this on Netflix.
Oh
now.
Yeah, go watch this on Netflix now and buy the Blu-ray if you appreciated it, because I want to see a 2BR.
All right. Well, look,
where's the 2-bedroom?
Well, Nate, we're going to get into where the 2-bedroom is, but look, if you are not serious about, signing a lease here, you need to go.
Get out of here, witch!
Because it's spoiler time, Nate. All right,
let's get into this film.
This fucking cat. They did this cat so dirty, and I just want to.
Does the cat die? Yes. This is, we did Urban Legends only a couple episodes ago. We got microwave and ovened animals back very close together. Mitch, are you doing okay with these movies here?
I'm not even a cat person, and I was mildly upset by this.
Look, no pets.
The minute this apartment, look, first off, and I said this at the top of the episode, when an apartment says no pets, that's a red flag. Don't move in there. It's especially if you have a pet. She killed this cat, to be fair.
So my wife had a apartment. So I had already graduated. She was still there, and she was still at college, and she was at a place where they didn't allow pets. And for part of the time, she had the cat there, but then they almost caught it, so she had to send it away. But the thing is, in this movie, she can't, there's no one else to watch it temporarily here. She's all by herself. So I would just say, don't bring the cat.
Yeah. I mean,
problem solved.
Give
right?
that cat a good home. Yeah.
You give the cat a good home where you're from, where you know people. Then you go back and get it once you're established.
Yeah.
But I get it. She didn't know anybody, so she wanted the cat for companionship. So I get it. But, in this apartment complex, you have the cat. You got to read the fine print on this lease. You sign this lease, right? In the pet addendum, like page 4, there was probably like, hey, if we find an animal, it goes right in the oven.
But
that might have been in there. Who knows?
Could you have brought a fish? I don't think would anyone have really thought given a shit if she had a fish in the room? I think probably.
A fish goes right into the frying pan.
Yeah.
It's gonna go on the stove area somewhere.
Can we find an animal that they wouldn't cook? I think that's the question. I'm failing.
You gotta get a stinky animal. Have a pet skunk.
Stinky,
right? Then they don't want to touch it. Maybe that's your best move. I don't know.
Get a fucking nutria, the big ass swamp rat from Louisiana,
God.
And no one's fucking with that, man. Look, here's the top comments on the trailer that I played on YouTube. The cat's dead, so I'm not watching. Did they put her cat? Did they put her cat in the oven?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like top comments are all like, but that cat though.
Guys, and I don't know why. So Mitch went right to the cat, but we gotta talk about this movie because the movie is very good.
The movie is very good. But
does the cat die.com?
That is the cat was contraband. But even in our interview, they even mentioned the cat. Everyone's like the cat. What the fuck, right?
Yeah. One Take Giles apparently was the cat's name on set. Cat was money, best actor in the film. So, looking forward to see that cat in It comes by day.
What does he say in Christmas Vacation? If that cat had 9 lives, he done used them all up right there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Shit,
cat dies.
Randy Quaid is a national treasure.
Cat dies. Let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about this film. So Sarah, gets to LA. She's in an open house for an apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
That apartment complex spanned a bunch of 5-star reviews on like Google, right? So that happened for sure.
Had to.
So she looks at that high rating. She gets there, open house. They have to pick you. I've never been in a scenario where they had to pick you.
No,
they're like, do you have enough money for the deposit? Does your background check clear?
Could not imagine the stress of having to go through that.
Yeah,
I would never have gotten an apartment.
It's like a job interview where you have to pay them. Like, what? Why am I doing this? But in LA, I guess it makes more sense. So she gets it. She's surprised, but she gets it. I don't know how much money she's making. Maybe she had some savings with her potentially. And she had a temp job at a legal office, which can't pay very well.
Right.
So I don't know how she's paying for this, but let's go beyond that. So this apartment complex, from the jump, you see people, kind of all congregating under a giant pergola by the pool in the kind of courtyard area, and you're like, oh, this seems super nice. I've never been in an apartment like that. It's always like, hey, everyone is bringing their friends to the pool, and everyone's very loud, including myself. Only scenario I've ever congregated with anyone. And you see everyone kind of around hanging out. You got old people, you got young people, you got married, single, no pets anywhere.
Well, maybe that's because you're too selfish. You're too self-absorbed and selfish to really embrace the community.
Society has tainted me. Yeah, society has taught me incorrectly. But yeah, their community looks cool. So she's there. She's new. She doesn't know anybody. It's like, this is perfect. There's a cute guy down the hall. Everything's going pretty well. Then, first few nights, the loudest pipe sounds I've ever seen in my life. It's like you live in like the pipe works of Los Angeles. Noise is so loud. If I heard loud noises like that more than 1 or 2 days in a row, I would just leave. So that's the deal breaker for me. Like, when does this become a movie where you are no longer there? If 3 nights in a row I hear a really loud sound and I can't sleep in my new apartment, I'm breaking the lease.
I mean, I'm calling the landlord. Like, hey, yeah.
No, I'm just breaking it. You can't fix the loudest sounds on earth in like 3 or 4 days. I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you buy something and it's like, they turned it in a way like where you didn't see any of the scuffs or any of the broken parts of the item you bought. And then you buy the item, you turn around, and you go, oh, that's jacked. Sending it back. Sure. I'm done. I'm out on this. Okay. So when does this movie end for me? In the first, 20 minutes. I'm out of there. Yeah. What about you, Mitch? Could you handle having loud sounds at night and you can't sleep?
I sleep with a fan, and it's like a jet engine going off right by my head. So I probably would have just slept.
You would have counteracted the loud pipes with a loud fan.
You're gonna come at me with something harder than that, with some loud noises and some banging. That's nothing.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'd have been out of there.
I lived in a fraternity house for a bit. I can handle most anything.
Sure. So I'd have been out on that. Mitch is still part of this. All right. So as we continue, so she's making her friend Lisa at her work. Inviting her over. They're hanging out. Cute guy down the way. Everything's going great. Lisa is kind of like everyone knows this, like, knows everybody, knows everybody's business, like likes to talk shit, like strong, independent person who's like around. I know a couple people like this. And that's a good friend to have. So she makes that good friend. Sweet. Then, the neighbors are kind of asking about all of her stuff and offering to help out, and they seem super nice, but nothing crazy yet. Mitch, when did it turn for you that this? We obviously know something shady is going to go down just by the poster of the film, right? But when for you did it turn where you're like, oh no, this is going bad? What was the point in the film for you?
I think the first notice, like, the noise would have bothered me, but I think the first notice from the neighbor where it's like, no pets because some of us are allergic, you selfish bitch. It's like, oh, how, who, no. That's probably it. That would be the step right before, the cat being put in the oven, and your catterole would have been made.
Yes, catterole. Cat lateral damage.
No, cat. Well, I was going with like a casserole, but it's a catterole.
No, I know, but yes.
Okay. You went with what, catterole? It doesn't matter. This is already. This is a bad.
Either way. Perfect recipe. Yes. Should have checked all the clauses in that in that rental
not
agreement.
dignifying that one. No, so yeah, I mean, I think that because right then it's like, oh Jesus, that is so someone knows clearly.
Yes. Yeah.
So Nate, look,
once I heard that, yeah, I'd be out then. That's my second deal breaker. I'm out of there so fast. And luckily she doesn't have a whole lot of stuff. Easy pack out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie ends in like 15 minutes for you.
This is a very short film, but it continues going. So she's got a friend, you got the cat thing, whatever. And then one night she's just like so she thinks she sees somebody, right? Also, and her door's unlocked. Her door's unlocked one night. That Edie's kind of, she's not doing super well. I think her mental faculties are kind of going away. She's starting to kind of lose it a little bit. And her door was open, but she sees her and she takes care of her, takes her into her apartment, gets her pills all ready for it and everything great. But don't forget, her door was unlocked in the middle of the night when she clearly locked it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. I'm out. Third out. 3 outs. 3 strikes.
Well, Nate,
out.
At that point, it's too late. At that point, it's once someone's already in
3 strikes, you're out. So then I believe it was the next night, if I remember correctly.
No, it's that night.
It was the same night. It was the same night. Shit. So then.
That's what I said. By then, it's too late.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So then, all of a sudden, the smoke alarm goes off, and what is that? It is a melted ass cat. Simultaneously burned and melted. And I can't even imagine the smell that was coming out of that stove, but it was not good.
It just seemed okay. So first off, it seemed over and above what they needed to do to send this message. They could have put this cat down much easier. Second, I mean, that cat had to scratch the shit out of someone, right? I mean, you have cats. Have you ever tried to just pick up your cat? Doesn't it just like scratch the piss out of you? Because we had cats when I was young that just were mean as hell and would just scratch.
I'll throw one of my cats over my shoulder. They don't care.
Oh, that's weird. So that's not my experience with cats.
It's like a sling over. Not even a problem.
Yeah,
I trained him though.
I mean. Yeah, so I mean, she's basically it's done because they need to completely isolate her.
Well, okay, look, if you're gonna put a cat in the stove, you're not above punching a cat right in the face to loosen him up. I assume
you're not.
These people are cat punchers.
What the fuck? Are they boxing with the cat now? Like they're just like,
bam. The cat's like doing this move, and then they literally just punch you right in the face. I wouldn't put it past them in this movie.
All right? So look, I'm gonna jump just a smidge ahead for one thing. So everyone sort of has their sort of role in this environment. Who has been assigned the cat puncher / cooker?
Oh, it's Brian, the cute guy.
Oh yeah, you think he's all of it? He's
the dirty work guy.
Do you think he volunteered? Do you think he volunteered or he was assigned it? Like. Who wants? Hey, look! If he's like raising his hand, like at the monthly meeting, like, hey, if anyone needs, if we ever need to like bake a cat or just kick it in the face, I'm your man.
Yeah, I am.
Is that what
he's? He seems like he's the most willing to be insanely violent at any moment. So we basically find out this is the front for a cult, effectively. Yeah, I mean, Sarah actually breaks away from being zip tied to a chair. Pretty impressive. Don't knock that. Then she's escaping, and then Brian's chasing her. She thinks it's Lester, which, to be fair, great guess. Right? Obvious guess, but a solid guess. Lester, the guy who's creepy, tried to like hand her a book, and all that kind of stuff. She gets out. And then you're like, oh, everyone's in on it. They are holding me down, and now I am in the torture room. What do you think about this torture? So the part of being in the cult is that you get tortured.
Well, it's the deprogramming, right?
It's the initiation. Yes, the deprogramming
or the programming, whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, it's standard cult modus operandi, right?
Now, it's a very basic one. There's lights, there's a camera watching you, and there's you in a stress position holding your hands against a wall. And a locked door and, kind of like a prison slide under the door food system. That's it. It is very minimal.
Yep.
How effective would this be on you?
Oh, I mean, well, in terms of just completely break, no, I would not be doing. They'd just go ahead and just put me down at this point. I'm not holding this forever. I'm not saying that stress. Like, I could barely do wall sets for a long time. I'd be like, I just end me now. So no.
Okay, so you're just gonna give up.
Basically, yeah, pretty much.
But they're gonna torture you. They're not letting people leave. That's the thing. They're torturing people until they comply. They're not actually killing them. I don't think they're killing anybody.
I mean, well, some people don't make it.
Maybe, but very few. I mean, the Lester guy was fighting them for 5 years.
Yeah, he was fighting. I wouldn't be fighting. I just
they took his
away.
eye. They took his eye. They clipped his ear. Some weird ear.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not a good candidate for this cult because I don't have an Instagram. So I feel like that's what they were targeting.
Nice. But yeah, so she does this thing and she's doing it for how long? How many, is it like a week? Is it a month? How long is this happening? It seems a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been some time. I don't know. I would say a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks, easy. Then she finally falls, right? And then they come in and they're just like, all right, well, you can't handle this. We're just going to nail some nails through your hand to keep you on the wall.
Yeah, not fun.
Yikes. And then they do that. And again, it's not super gory for the unsuspecting victims. There's a little blood splatter.
No, not fun, no, either.
And then, yeah, she's there. And then they play audio from her dad, like saying, you can escape, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. And then she pulls her hands out of the nails. Oh boy. And then turns around and there's just nothing there. There's just all a joke from them. And they're like, all right, you're good. Like, wait, what? So now we keep you on your toes. This call's keeping you on your toes.
That's right. Now we have a book we'd like you to read.
Yeah. Now that your hands are jacked and you can't, and you're really tired and broken down physically, let's mentally give you Charles Ellerby's The Power of Community.
Let me ask you, Nate, if you had your hands tied to this thing, or sorry, not tied, but nailed in, and you get done, they're like, hey, we got this book you want to read. I mean, are you just like, yeah, I don't, my e-reader, y'all stole my e-reader. So where's how do I, is it on Amazon?
Yeah, what I was thinking when I watched this is that, like, when we watched Gerald's game, she does the degloving, right? Where she basically removes.
Why do you have to keep reminding? Yes,
because you hate it. That's why I bring it up. But
asshole.
When she did that, it's like, you know what? I mean, you can do things to survive. Putting a nail through your hand, I've injured myself all kinds of times. Not nail through the hand injuries, but pretty good injuries, like physical injuries. Absolutely no problem for me. Like, my hand has I would conservatively say 20-some scars on it, for real. I have injured myself all the time. That actually doesn't seem
that's
that
a weird
bad
flex there, Nate.
No, it's
I don't. I mean, so yeah, if you out there listening have had multiple injuries to your hand, rest assured, Nate has injured his hand more than you.
Plus, I've seen that thing where those magicians put something in their arm, put a wire through their arm to make the scar tissue so they can do it again for those tricks. Having seen all of these things combined, plus my terrible flex, apparently.
What shitty magician are you watching?
No, I watched it.
Some dude in alley I'm gonna cut into my scar tissue to make this disappear
That's
better.
like David Blaine and all those guys early on would do that kind of crap. Anyway, putting all that together, that actually doesn't seem that bad to me. So that one I'd be okay with. I was totally fine with.
This was a very weird. Whatever your point was, I still don't know what it was.
I'm just saying, for me, it was anticlimactic when she was able to start integrating with the group. That she pulled her hands out of the nails. For me, that wouldn't have been that big a deal. I'd be like, oh, that's it.
So Nate, we get like kind of a montage-esque of her reintegrating into a new society.
Yeah, it's just a society in this apartment complex. Only one way in or out, and it was a callback from the beginning where like the door is locked until they see her on the camera, then they open it, and then it's closed immediately. Jerry, the apartment manager, is the manager of this cult, and he's the only one who can control who goes in or out. So there's just no way out of this apartment complex. You think they'd be able to see or do something, but everyone else is in on it but you. So it's like 60 versus 1. So understandable. So she's trapped. She's trapped in this place.
Now, largely everyone, like, you know, of all the cults that we've seen in horror movies, this one, at least not as bad as others in terms of their end mission and goal. I mean,
it's fairly realistic, I think. Yeah.
Now, one of the most tense scenes is when she is cooking with Naomi Grossman's character Janice.
Janice, of course.
Which, you know, there's like an errant knife sort of sitting there, and Janice is very like menacingly chopping potatoes, which we've learned in our interview is dangerous for a number of other reasons besides what is happening in that.
Not the best cook, apparently.
No, but look, I mean, she makes it through. She's fine,
and she looks at the knife, and then Lester looks at her and does the no, like he's like, "Nah, man,
don't do it."
Look, I have one eye. I tried a bunch of shit. It did not.
One eye and a burnt over ear. Yeah,
exactly. It did not work.
He's a half a Kruger at this point. So, so she makes it through initiation. She gets her little brand behind her ear.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Would he be Mumbly Kruger? What's his name? Mumbles Kruger.
I don't know. He looks like he is Freddy Krueger's like half cousin or something.
But then, she's like, hey, look, they're explaining to her, like, all right, you've gone through the first phase. Everyone had that done. Even the head guy. Even the head guy got the brand you got. And then you're like, you know what? She's like, I was adrift when I got here. My family wasn't great. I had no friends. My mom had just died from a thing. My dad had cheated on my mom with her nurse while she was alive. I don't want any part of this shit. I'll start over. And these people do take care of each other, right? Like, everyone's taken care of. Everyone's helping each other. They're all part of this community, right? Then you're like, you know what? Maybe this is cool for 3 seconds. Then she joins the thing. You're like, all right, well, this is what you're going to do. You know, right? We've done all the lie detector tests on you. You seem like you're actually agreeing with us. Now, arranged marriage with Lester. Record scratch. What?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm marrying Lester, the creepiest dude that's here? Oh, no. And provide children. You're going to be great. You're going to be great husband and wife and mother. What? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
They couldn't even let her have, like, her cake in peace that they got her.
No.
They couldn't even let her have that. So
no, they're not like, hey, just take like a week before we get you.
No, there's like 30 seconds after you are now in an arranged marriage from joining our group. Oh no, that's not good.
No. And then, sure enough, to really ensure that the it's taken hold, poor Lisa has signed up for the vacant.
And her dad comes first, I guess.
Yeah.
So not only is this cult, they got on all their social media and all their stuff and all their computers and broke ties with everybody. Lisa was like, oh, you're a bitch. You almost got me fired and you got yourself fired. So I'm out. But her dad does come, and her dad comes into her apartment. They redo the apartment. It was the torture chamber. And then they like remake it so it's the normal, terrible 1-bedroom apartment. And then her dad's about to get stabbed in the back of the neck because they're there, and she has to like just say the meanest shit ever to get him to leave to save his life. That was a crazy scene. That was like the 7th way she cried in the film. What did you think about that, Mitch? Could you say something to me where I would never come back? Like, what's the meanest thing? Well, don't tell me now, but could you do it? Because I want you to save my life when this does happen. and I want to get out of there. So
yeah, I think I can say mean shit to get you to leave.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good.
I mean, you said not to say it. I don't want to end the.
No,
I don't want the
don't say
podcast.
it.
I don't want the podcast to stop. You know.
But if you ever needed to, you.
If I ever need to, just know it's locked and loaded.
Good to know.
Immediately as I watch a scene, I'm like, oh, I know what I tell Nate.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Even though her dad did kind of a shitty thing, it's still her dad.
Her dad does slap her straight up in the face. That makes it easier to get him to go.
Yeah. That she had a moment's hesitation, but.
Yeah, she was hugging him, like almost reconciling. Then the guy pops out with a knife from the shadows. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. I hate you again. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then Lisa comes. Explain this whole Lisa deal to me. So she's like, I was looking for a new apartment. And then I figured she was a crazy bitch and would just go back home. So then I looked at the same apartment. She was already complaining about the apartment and the people already. Would you, like, if I complained about how terrible my apartment was, would you then go move into my same apartment?
If I didn't know you and I thought you were a crazy.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
psycho,
okay,
maybe.
fine, okay.
You're like, I don't know what she was talking about. This place looks great. She can't accept.
So Sarah is kind of like a, kind of a doe-eyed
I get it. I got
new
it.
person.
Yeah.
She's kind of a doe-eyed new person. But when they do the, the brainwashing treatment on Lisa, it does not go well. She fights back dramatically.
Yeah.
I guess what they were going to do, because she bit the one guy's ear. She bit Brian's ear.
Yep.
Then Jerry asked her to come in. They're going to, break her eardrum? Is that what they were going to do? It's like an ice pick in the ear.
Yeah.
Okay, that is.
I think they were going to.
That was some hostile shit. That was some hostile shit.
Not a fan of that one. That's
that was bad. But then, there's and I didn't want to use this as my quote, but because it's so dramatic and important in the movie. But earlier in the movie, when they were friends, Lisa told Sarah, "Hey, it's your fucking life, right? Like, don't take the shit. It's your life. You're the one who has to hold them accountable." And
I don't want your life.
Yeah. Well, it was like for this one, it was, I don't want my life. That's what she was saying in the beginning. But then she's like, I don't want this cult life. So she takes the ice pick.
My so-called life.
Yes.
Nailed it.
That was good. Nailed it. Nailed it. Like she nailed in this ice pick into Jerry's neck instead of helping her. Because she had the trust. She was, betrothed to Lester. Jerry got some nice neck ice pick stabs. And then she gets, Lisa and her, and then an alarm goes off. Lisa and her about to escape. She didn't ice pick him enough because Jerry does have that gun he uses to show.
Always check for a gun. Always.
To show that he means business, and shoots Lisa right in the back of the head. Did not see that coming.
No.
At all.
That
very
was a
surprising.
Shocking.
Very awesome. She had grabbed a hammer, though, and she throws the hammer into Jerry's chest, which was fucking awesome. What a great move that needs to happen in more movies. People throwing hammers at each other, 100% down.
Yeah.
Go check out the original Old Boy for a great hammer fight scene. If you want to get some inspiration for your hammer throws, directors and writers of these films.
I mean, it shouldn't cost that much to license. Can't touch this, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the hammer thunk is so satisfying when it hits somebody.
Oh yeah. Is it Nate?
It was in this film because she hammer thunks him and then stabs him. And
is that what your neighbors told you?
Yeah. That's what they're probably hammering the floor. It could have been anything. Might as well have been floor hammering. Oh, maybe they're building a new flooring surface or something in their apartment. No idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then she escapes out of there. And she does grab the gun the second time, and the clicker for the front gate, the only means of escape. First of all, if there's only one way in and out of my apartment complex, I would never live there. Also, that's my number 0. Only one way in or out.
That's another red flag. I agree.
Out of here. That's a huge red flag.
That's a fire hazard.
Exactly. Terrible.
Yeah, that's not even.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's that, and then she escapes out, and then set up this end scene for me, Mitch, because the escape is pretty dramatic as well.
Well, yeah. So she is running through, gets to the courtyard, but then, I mean, as you would expect, everyone has heard guns go off and knows things are not going well. So all the neighborhood is coming out to see what's going on.
Yeah. In the same meeting place that they had all the parties before. That was not lost on me. That was kind of a nice, they congregate the same way they always do. That was cool.
Yep. And then Janice confronts her, yelling at her because her husband is...
No, she's run yelling with a butcher knife.
Yeah.
Come on. You're underselling this. Yell running. Oh, you hear the before the camera even gets to her. It's just, knife run. She is pissed. She is like the Kool-Aid on this. And this is what I said in the interview. Her emotions are so dramatic. No one else has emotions. When they're trying to talk about torture people, it's so matter-of-fact and business-like. She is run yelling with a knife. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, she lost her. No, you're right. I mean, she lost her partner, and then, but she gets got a little bit. We don't know now. We don't know if she's not. We know she got shot. So
But is she dead? I would say no.
We don't know. If you don't see it, it doesn't happen, right?
There's a top class medical people in this apartment complex we've established. I think probably fine.
Yeah, she's probably fine. Now I do think she does make another run for the door, and then she gets there. She's trying to get out, and then
she shoots Brian point blank.
Yeah. Why don't you finish up the rest?
Well, no, it's like Brian tells her, "Hey, you can't do this." She's like, "I just shot you. Suck it." Then she runs. Sorry. Go ahead. Man.
No, go ahead. You got it. You finish the rest, Nate.
Fine. Then she goes, makes the mad dash, hits the clicker, opens the door. Of course, there are 80,000 people chasing her. It looks like. This one guy grabs her with a real creep. I don't know if this guy was a good actor or not, but a real creepy like creep smile. Then Lester gets the gun, and Lester, 5 years of just straight up like torture, trying to escape. He had his wife die of cancer, who was the one who got him converted. And then she's like, just shoot me in the face. I'm going to get pulled in and I'm never going to leave again. And they're probably going to cut my leg off or some crap, right? Like imagine the horror of that scenario. What does Lester do? Instead of shooting her, shoots the guy holding her, pushes her out the door. Everyone mobs him to grab him. He sells the gun. He does the same no-tell that he does when she tries to grab the knife. I mean, look, best husband ever, right?
If
you're going to be in an arranged marriage, could do worse.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
And then he shoots himself in the bottom of the face, just right up, so they can't take him alive. She's out, and she starts running, and she stops for some reason. Not sure why. I would never stop running forever, but she stops running. And we get an invitation-like ending. We're in the spoiler section where, oh no, it's not just that apartment complex. They're all owned by the same company. And they've all been watching everything. And the scope is so much larger than you imagine.
Yep.
Alarms going off everywhere all down this block, all these red lights, everything going off. And then she at first is like really scared. Then she clenches her fist and is like, I can do this. Runs down the road into the sunset. The end.
What did you think about this ending?
Fantastic movie. I love the ending. I love it when they do that. Twilight Zone-esque, Invitation-esque, Black Mirror-esque-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
Loved it. I thought it was good. And it keeps it open for sequels and a universe and all kinds of stuff. They set up this whole...
Are you at all disappointed that there wasn't a little bit more... I guess that it ended in sort of a more open-ended fashion. I mean, almost as to prep for a sequel type of thing.
There
wasn't a little bit more finality in terms of the mystery of who was watching them and.
They could have went into more things, but I liked how they kept it a tight scope. I think if they got more money for the sequel, which they probably would compared to this, because it's kind of an established movie that already did well on Netflix and got some buzz, I would assume they would expand it out, and then we'd get to see like who are these people? Like, is this happening everywhere? What's going on? I would love to see that, but it didn't bother me. Did it bother you, Mitch?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And so the reason I asked that is because if I was looking at the one BR IMDb reviews because you made a point, right? Like, why is this movie a 5 point, you know, like why is it so low on IMDb? And there's a number of 1-star reviews, and that seems to be, for the most part, it's either they're pissed about the cat, or
Sure.
or there's not even really anything, like one's like terrible acting, terrible story, terribly filmed, just it's like, what? Like you're not even giving a review, you're just saying,
Be more constructive with your feedback, please.
Yeah. I mean, but the ones where they do have stuff, it literally is like the ending. There's nothing to, like, it's just, there's no development. There's no, I disagree wholeheartedly with these 1-star reviews.
The development is that the scope is much broader than you thought. You were seeing it from this one person's perspective, and then it broadens.
Yeah.
I know. I thought it was great.
I don't know. You know me, Nate. I've often told you I find bad reviews so comically good, like funny, like they make me laugh. And even mine, I'm sure if I wrote down the things I say about movies I did not like, or probably like someone else should read them and just be like, this is fucking incredible. This is hilarious. Like one person's mad that's like, okay, so to summarize the movie, the first, use English, my God, where they condition you to behave good, and everyone is so used to it they don't want to leave. I was so annoyed. Sarah had to wait for her coworker to come and persuade her to fight and escape before she finally decided on her own. What do you want? You wanted her to be fucking superhero before she started this?
Yeah.
It's some of it's unreasonable. Some people like are bitching that they're like, this isn't a horror film. Shut the fuck up.
That's why that part of the reason I like this is because it is fairly realistic.
Yeah.
The reason it's realistic is because it's told from one person's small point of view. That's why I think they kept it that way. But
I like how everyone seems to think in their head that, oh, if I am in this situation, this is how I will react. No, you will more than likely freeze up like a fucking deer in the headlights if you.
Yeah,
were
well,
in
that's what
same...
in the movie they say, hey, this is based on science. They've clearly gotten dozens of people, and now you see other apartment complexes, in theory, thousands of people potentially. Yeah. Going with this method, you know, it's proven based on
that's like everyone you ever see. It's like, oh, if this person never said that to me, I'd fucking punch him in the face. Like, no, you wouldn't. You would not. Yeah. You would not tell this NFL dude that you would not get in a fight with someone who would end you in 5 seconds.
And then your neighbor tells you they're going to steal your dog, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So no, I like this ending just fine. I do like that it world builds. It is very invitational. So I do see, if you take a complaint and say, well, look, the Invitation did this ending already, I don't fault you for that. That doesn't mean it's a bad ending.
The Invitation ending I think is different because the cult in that one was like a suicide cult.
Agreed. No, I think.
Whereas in this one, they're trying to gather new members. So
I think more just the fact that the last shot of the movie. Well, spoiler for The Invitation, I guess, if you haven't seen that.
We already did that episode too. So
yeah, you should have watched The Invitation long ago.
That is the double feature for this film. If you watch this movie, then watch Invitation.
Both are actually. I would say both movies probably about on par with one another. In terms of quality and all that. So, well, look, Nate, I mean, if you hadn't seen it, you know, you almost did from our retelling of it, you know. So I gotta ask, what is your final cut?
Final cut.
Nate, do you want to kick it off?
Yes, I clearly love this movie. Sorry, I narrated a lot of it. I got really excited. Can't miss any of the cool parts. Please. I hope everyone listened to our spoiler-free section and went and watched it and then listened, because I had to get into so many cool parts. I apologize for that. But movie's great, realistic. Lead is solid. I think she's probably going places. The director's probably going places. The directing and the acting of the lead actress, Nicole Bryden Bloom, is very good. So that's great. Some of the character actors do a good job. Naomi Grossman does a good job. Taylor Nichols does a good job. Little bit of less acting from some of the other people. That might be where The Invitation shines, is that the acting and the interpersonal relationships are close quarters the whole movie, right? Yeah. And obviously you got, you know, an alumnus of the OC in that one. So obviously great acting all around. But no, it's the movie's really good. Way lower budget than The Invitation for sure. So I can't fault it for that. Story's great. It was great to interview them and get some of the behind the scenes things. But the reason I wanted to get that is because I actually liked the movie already. I showed it to other people. They already liked it. Already got the Blu-ray. Loved it. I'm gonna give this. Ooh, can we give 0.5s? We're not allowed to. I always say we're not allowed
we
to,
typically
right?
don't. Yeah, no.
Shit. It's between a 7 and an 8 for me. I'm gonna say 7 out of 10 cats in the oven. It's like a 7.5. 7 to 8. It's really good.
Should have given it an 8 because I would also be giving it a 7.
Oh,
7 out of 10
okay.
nails in the hand. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great movie. I do think there are some things I would like to have seen, and when it comes to the cat, some things I would not like to have seen. But even then, I tell you this too. Whenever there's animal deaths, cruelty for the sake of cruelty is one thing, and that's not what this movie. There is a point to it. The cat is being killed for a reason, and that is to help break her down and really isolate her. Obviously leaving the cat around is not, they got to remove the hope, right? That nope, you're stuck in this. You need to break.
Exactly.
So it makes sense. I don't like it, but you know what? You should probably like most of the shit that happens in a horror film. You shouldn't really be, in retrospect, you probably shouldn't be thrilled when someone gets murdered with a chainsaw.
I didn't like it when the face hugger went after John Hurt. I didn't like that. That's alien. I don't know. What the fuck do you want? Like, come on.
Right. So,
Exactly.
no, I mean, look, I did like it. I thought the acting was really good. I could have used a little bit more, seeing more of the community and their roles and a little bit of that.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to pull the curtain back on that whole organization.
Yeah, I thought we spent maybe a little bit too much time with Brian to some extent, not to the film's detriment. I think, I would have liked to have seen more from Taylor Nichols' character, so Jerry.
Agreed.
A little bit more of that. I mean, not just because she was on the show, but a little bit more Janice on the movie. But
a lot more.
Maybe we get that, and maybe we get that in the sequel to BR.
Janice Strikes Back.
Janice Strikes Back. Yeah, the Return of Janice, whatever you call it. No, it's a great film. I mean, especially for no hype, no real expectations. I mean, it's number 1 on Netflix in movies. I just got the shit scared out of Nate. Either way, so we got 7s. Watch this movie on Netflix.
Yeah,
Nate,
watch this.
Tell them where they can find us.
There are some movies you give a review to, and review numbers can't really give it the full context of what it is. See this movie. Check us out at TX Pod Massacre on Twitter, Texas Podcast Massacre on Instagram and Facebook. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or any of your other podcast platforms. We will do a movie. Maybe Mitch will come back. If you give us a 5-star review, Mitch may come back to the episode. That is what we need to keep going. Get more eyes on our podcast. And we really appreciate those of you who have listened and followed us so far. We have some awesome episodes coming up in the future, some different stuff for us and a couple of exciting announcements. So stay tuned for those. We've already posted on all the movies we'll be doing throughout September. So check that out on Twitter and Instagram to see the movies we're doing. We're doing Babysitter, Killer Queen. We're doing The Hills Have Eyes and Devil All the Time. So everyone who has Netflix, you are checking out most of those movies. Might have to rent The Hills Have Eyes, but a lot of good movies coming up. Since Mitch is no longer with us. Oh, he's back. Father of the Year over here. Mitch
of the Year.
Just crushing it.
Oh, Jesus. Where are we?
We are at the very end.
Right,
everyone knows what our September schedule is, and to give us a 5-star review, just in case this is a hologram and you're not actually back. So,
yes. Well, what an exciting end to this episode.
Damien needs to let everyone know who's boss every so often. That's fair.
He just said, y'all have talked way. We're past 90 minutes. He's like, you've gone way too long. Let's go. So with that said, check out 1BR Netflix. Check out the interview we had with Alok and with Naomi. It's a lot of fun. You can find that on YouTube, the video, or listen to the podcast. I am out of breath from having to chase my little Damien around, which makes for great radio. From all of us here at Texas Podcast Massacre, thank you so much for tuning in, and just keep telling yourself, it's only a movie. Good night.